Hello and welcome back to your mat. Today I'm joined by Josie, so we'll see how long she's going to hang out for yoga today. Today I want you to focus throughout the class on what you can do. So let's not focus on you're not able to do a pose a certain way or it doesn't look exactly like you think it should look. I want you to focus on how it feels in your body and what you can do. So we're going to focus on a little bit of abundance and gratitude for what we can do. So we're going to start with a quote by Frank Jude Boschio. When you stop and really look, you see that you are supported continuously in literally countless ways. This is the highest lesson of yoga, the truth of inner being, of no separation. So in today's class, again, just really allow yourself to be in the pose where you are in this moment. Don't need any props for today's class, and we'll start just as I am, seated, simple cross-legged. I've got my right shin in front. Doesn't matter which one's in front. We're going to do the other side. We'll make it even. And there she goes. And we're going to simply start out with a nice little side bend to the right. So bring your right arm out to the right and just bring side bend here. So you're going to stretch over to the side. Any amount. You can stay more upright or you can come further down. Whatever works for you. Bring the left arm up overhead and keep that left hip grounded into the mat. And breathe here for a round or two, noticing how you feel in your body. Notice, do you need to stay more upright? Does that work better for you? Or does it work better for you to go further down? Just notice where you are and be content and happy with where you are in that pose. Another breath. And then go ahead and come all the way up. And then we're going to twist to the right. So go ahead and bring that left hand to your right knee, right arm behind you. And twist to your right, looking out over your right shoulder to the back or to the right side, whatever's working best for you here. So decide how much of a twist you want this to be. You can back off a bit or you can come a little deeper. Just notice. And exhale and return to center. And from here now, we're going to just forward fold a bit. So I'm going to come sideways, turn sideways here so you can see this. I want you to fold forward any amount that works for you. Notice where you are and what works for your body. So come forward any amount, and you may be more upright, or you may be further down. Find what suits you and your body for today. Breathe into your hips. Let your hips sink into the ground. Try not to roll up so you can come forward more. You want to keep those hips grounded into the mat. Breathe into those hips and feel those hips open up a bit here, because this is going to help open you up here. And then go ahead and come all the way up, and now we'll do the other side. So go ahead and switch the cross of your legs. So I'm going to put my left shin in front of my right, and now I'm going to bring my left hand out to the left for that side bend. So go ahead, left hand out any amount, side bend any amount, and bring that right arm overhead, keeping that right hip grounded into the mat. You can look down at the mat. You can look up underneath of your arm. You can look straight forward. Just feel it out here. See what works for your body instead of trying to do exactly like you see on the video. Feel what best works in your body. That's really the important key here. So you can come more upright, or you can go further deep, further in. Another breath here. And then come on up. And now we'll do that twist. Right hand to your left knee. Left hand behind you. Sit up nice and tall here. Try to be tall in your spine. And look over to your left, over your left shoulder if you want to get a deeper twist. Or just out to the left. You can also experiment with turning your head back over your right shoulder. And that'll give you a little, you'll still have the twist, but you'll open in the left side of your neck. So just experiment and see what feels good. And then go ahead and bring that back. And now we're going to forward fold again. So again, I'll turn here and demo. I'm going to demo this time sitting up a little bit more upright. So if to maintain a nice flat, straight back, tall, straight spine is best for you to sit up, then just sit up tall. And then just play around a little bit and just see how far forward you can go. And maybe this is your spot. So I'm going to stay more upright on this one. But keep those hips grounded. Feel your hips opening there. Let everything go into the mat. Make sure you breathe into those hips. important. And then come all the way back up. Now you can either stay seated in a cross-legged seat, or if it works for you, to sit on your heels. So I'm sitting on my heels with my feet untucked. So pick whatever works best for you. And all we're going to do is just interlace the hands out and stretch them out in front of us. So I've got my hands interlaced, turn them out so your palms are facing out. Give yourself a nice little stretch. Dome that upper back a little bit. You can even tuck your chin if you like. And then go ahead and rise those arms up overhead any amount. Notice where you are. You may be here, and that's fine. Maybe further up. Just notice where you are with your palms stretched up toward the sky, toward the ceiling. Really come out of your spine. Feel yourself grow tall and long here. And then exhale and release your hands down to your sides. And now we're going to come into all fours. Actually, I take that back. Before we come into all fours, we're going to interlace our hands behind our backs. So if you're unable to interlace your hands, that doesn't work for you, you can always just bring your hands behind you as if you had like an imaginary towel behind you. Stretch there, really stretch through the chest, open all this up. Give yourself a nice inhale and exhale here. Really get tall from the spine, open in the chest. You can even look up if you like. And then exhale, drop your hands down and come to all fours. So from all fours, we're going to come into a pose that is called lizard. It can be called dragon, and it can be intense. So this is where I really want you to notice where you are and not try to force yourself. So we're going to start with the left leg forward first. And this is a shorter class, so we've not had a lot of time to warm up here. But what we're going to do is first come all the way up. So go ahead and sit up here, stand up a bit for a moment. Feel yourself be long and tall here in this pose. And then what we're going to do is bring the hands down to the mat, and we're going to sink deeply into that front hip, that front leg. Now, I like to bring my left foot off to the side a bit more and bring both of my hands to the inside of my leg here. So this is a little bit more of the traditional pose. And you're just going to sink into that. Really open up that right hip flexor and sink into that left leg as much as you like. You can always stay more upright. So if you find, wow, that is really too intense, then back off a bit. You can stick the booty out a little bit and bring it out a little bit. So you don't have to come super deep here. You can back off, or you can really stretch yourself forward here. We're not going to come on our forearms unless you really just feel like you've got the space and you really are feeling called to do that. We're going to stay upright on the hands. You can always make fists with your hands. But just allow yourself to sink into this pose and feel the opening. And we're going to just stay here for a breath or two. Actually, for a few breaths, I should be honest. I'm going to stay here for just a few breaths, and I really want you just to feel into this pose. Again, you can always back out anytime that you need. Take a little break, and then you can come back in. Play around. Find your edge in this pose, and stay with it for a few breaths. Should be no pain, but there will be sensation for sure in this right hip flexor. Look forward. You can also look down if you like. Just another couple breaths here. Stay with me for just a minute or two longer. Or a breath or two longer is what I meant to say. Take a nice deep inhale. Exhale and back out and come back to your all fours. Now, before we go to the other side, you might find it helpful to just stretch that right leg back straight out. So you could stretch that out, drop that right knee, and do the same thing with your left. Just give yourself a little stretch there before we go to the other side. So you know where we're going. You know what to expect. So we'll go ahead and switch to the other side. So go ahead and step your right foot forward now. And again, I'm putting this around closer to the right edge of my mat. So both of my hands are on the inside of my foot here. You can start out upright if you'd like. Start out a little more upright to begin with, and then bring yourself forward. And again, remember, you can always back out of this a bit. You don't have to come in so deep right away. But when you feel ready, go ahead and bend deeply into that front leg. Find your edge, find your place. And both of your hands, again, are on the inside of your right front foot. Your left leg is stretched long out on the mat. Toes are untucked. You're just going to breathe here. Breathe into that left hip flexor. You should really feel that. A lot of us are really tight in this area, so you'll probably really feel the opening there. But you have to stay here for a few breaths to really get there. So again, find your edge. Come out if you need to. Come back in. And just feel the sensations of being in this pose and noticing where you are with this pose. When you breathe, that helps bring that energy to the areas that may be tight. My dog is going to walk through the video. Fun recording with pets. So take another inhale, another exhale, and do that 2 more rounds. Really being in this pose. Just trying to be with the uncomfortableness, the sensations, but also the opening that's going to come from this pose. All right, I want you to take one more deep inhale. Exhale and come back out of that pose. And same thing as you did on the other side. You can go ahead and stretch both of the legs back one at a time if you like, just to get a little stretch there before we come down to our stomach into Sphinx Pose. So I'm going to come on down to my stomach. Sphinx Pose, classic pose here. You've got your elbows underneath of your shoulders. You're coming up out of your pelvis here. You're opening your chest and your throat. We're not crouching in. We're really opening ourselves up here. And you can spread your legs wider if you'd like, or you can have them closer together. Just decide here. Just go ahead and let your feet go, though, here. Just be comfortable in this pose. Now I want you to take a couple breaths here. Just looking forward and kind of enjoying this, especially opening the front body part of your body, your abdomen, your chest, your throat. And then we're going to come into half frog. So you can do a couple different things here. I'm going to do the quad stretch version. If that doesn't work for you, I'll show you a variation. So the quad stretch variation is we're simply going to bend that right leg, and we're going to bring our left forearm down to the ground, and we're going to reach back with our right hand and bring that right foot in any amount. Now you may need to keep it straight up. You may not even, your hand may not connect with your foot at all, and that's fine. So this is a nice quad stretch. So come in any amount here if you like that. If this just does not work for your knee in any way, it's just not great for you, or even being here doesn't help, you could always stay here too. If that doesn't work for you, then the other option is to just bring that right leg out to the side. And now you're going to need a little bit more of a, get into the hip instead of the quad. So we're just going to bring it out to the side. So just decide what works for you. My quads are tight, so this is something that really helps me a lot. So I'm going to go with this version. And I'm looking forward. You can always look back at your leg if you like to make it more of a twist, or I prefer the version of looking forward. So you're still in the Sphinx-like position, just using a quad stretch to add to it. And really breathe into that, especially if you have tight quads like I do. It really helps to send your breath to that part of the body. Energetically speaking, obviously our breath doesn't necessarily go, when we breathe in, it goes into our lungs, obviously, but if you think about it, visualizing the breath going to that area of your body. Go ahead and release that leg. Come back into Sphinx before we go to the other side. So before we go to the other side, go ahead and pick the one that works best for you. If you need to have your left leg out to the side instead of doing the quad stretch, go for that. Pick what's good for you. Come into your Sphinx. If you're going for the quad stretch, go ahead and stretch that left leg up. Place your right forearm in front of you and reach back with your left hand and pull that left foot in any amount. And see how that feels. You can always back off. You don't have to connect the foot and the hand. You could stay in Sphinx just with your foot up like as so, with just your foot up in the air, knee bent. You want to bring it a little deeper, obviously. Bringing it in is going to really open that quad a bit more. Stretching the quad. Breathe here. Notice your breath. Send your breath to that area. One more inhale. And then exhale and release that and let that go. And now we're going to flip back over onto our back. We're going to come into a nice bridge pose to finish out the class. So go ahead and lie onto your back. Just arrive here for just a moment. You can close your eyes and feel what that feels like. I've got my knees bent, the soles of my feet are on the ground. And then I'm going to inhale with my arms out to on the mat to the sides here. Inhale and just lift the hips up any amount. So you could come into a smaller version of bridge. You could come into a higher version of bridge. Whatever your body is calling for today. And I want you to stay here for 3 rounds of breath at your own pace, but nice deep inhales and exhales. You can always come back down if you need to, but try to stay in this pose for those 3 breaths. As you finish the 3rd breath, on the exhale, come on back down when you're ready. And if you have the time, go ahead and stretch your legs out and your arms out long on the mat. And come into a nice Shavasana. So just relax here for a moment. Allow yourself to go into the mat. Breathing there. Noticing the sensations that you feel after doing this class. Stay there. Got time, so let's stay there for just a moment. Just notice the sensations. Noticing how you feel after this class. I thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to leave you in Shavasana if you're there, and if not, if you're seated with me, thank you so much for joining. If you're in Shavasana, stay there. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope that you enjoyed this class. Just being aware of what works for you and your body. Thank you again for joining me. Until next time.